Conservative New Media viewers, Charlotte Hornets fans around the world, J-Lin fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFA Paul F. Rio, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss the Charlotte Hornets 106-94 victory tonight over the Los Angeles Clippers in Shenzhen, China. Game took place at 1:30 p.m. local time. It took place at 1:30 a.m. here on the East Coast of the United States. So it's kind of almost like a midnight madness in college basketball here in the United States, the NCAA. Usually I will go woo when the team wins. It's kind of like an expression of joy. But tonight I want to go whoo because this team is deep. And I'm talking about the victorious Charlotte Hornets. And they're missing Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and they're still really deep, okay? They had 7 players scored in double figures tonight. Nobody played over 30 minutes, so the team's rested, and the team has been going hard in practice. Coach Steve Clifford said yesterday, look, we're not going to play anybody too much because we're really grinding in practice over in China. The team they have so much more offensive capability than they had last year. If you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Last year was so reliant on Al Jefferson and Kemba Walker. And I said before there were 7 players in double figures. Well, Al Jefferson wasn't one of them. That kind of gives you an idea of the type of depth that we're talking about here. They were led by both Cody Zeller and J-Lin, 16 points apiece. Kemba Walker, 13 points. Jeremy Lamb, 12 points. Brian Roberts, 12 points. Spencer Hawes, 10 points. Nicholas Batum, 11 points. The team shot 48%, and they didn't even hit their three-pointers tonight, and they still rang up 106 points. Only 23% from the three-point line tonight, yet they still just bang, bang, bang. They had it going tonight. If you're a J-Lin fan, you've got to be thrilled about this. This is the second time in 3 preseason games that Jeremy scored over 16 or more points. He looked terrific in this game. Just a quick summary on Jeremy. The only negative thing I can say in this entire game for Jeremy really is that he airballed a three-pointer. And he still has to work on kind of like catching and shooting shots when he like runs into the catch. So he was coming off of a curl, going from right to left on the court, and he came around a pick, and he was wide open about 45 degrees left of the top of the arc. Caught the ball, released it, and it was an air ball. He's not used to that shot. And I think it's something you see somebody like J.J. Redick, who Jeremy was guarding a lot tonight. They're good at that shot, and that's something that Jeremy can continue to improve upon. But if you notice the way that he's playing, Jeremy, he's shooting shots quicker. Like he's looking for jump shots. We talked about this in the last game video. He's continuing to do that, and I think that's great. It shows that the work that he's put into his jump shot is paying off. The confidence is there, and he's playing a lot of shooting guard. Shooting guards shoot and score as well as initiate offense, but I'm glad that he's looking for a shot because he's shooting them at a pretty high rate, and if you've got an open look, take it. Charlotte didn't even get out to a great start in this game. Like the starters weren't even clicking that well at the beginning of this game. And LA ran out to a pretty sizable early lead. But what really kicked in for the Hornets tonight was their bench. The bench had over 60 points in this game for the Hornets. They scored 106 points, and the bench had, I believe, like 64 of them or something. So, again, the firepower of the bench is coming into play here now. And it it almost doesn't even matter who starts because you've got just excellent, evenly distributed talent throughout the roster. The team seems to have very good chemistry with one another in terms of how they feel about each other. There's still some things to be worked out in terms of getting used to playing with one another on the court. There are little miscalculations or missed opportunities or turnovers that won't happen a couple of months down the line once the team is more familiar with their playing styles, especially they brought in like 8 new guys, including the rookies. So they're just not completely used to one another in terms of that. But the camaraderie looks great. The demeanor of the team looks great. You don't see any pouting. You don't see any negativity. There's just a lot of positivity and flow. And it's just, if I said this in the Miami Heat video, the preseason game number 2 video, if Brian Roberts continues to play like this, as he did in the last game, boy, they're going to be even more dangerous. Because I know people were having fun with this on Twitter. You know, Brian Roberts is shooting everything. Can he even pass? Yes, he can pass. Even in this game, he had 4 assists and only 1 turnover. So you put Brian Roberts with Jeremy Lin, Kemba Walker, and Nicholas Batum. You've got 4 playmakers there, 4 guys who are capable of making good passes and setting up easy plays. As I've said before, that means you got 2 playmakers on the floor at least at all times. That is a huge advantage over some teams in the NBA. Charlotte last year, they only had 2 playmakers on the whole team, Kemba and Brian Roberts. So, I guess you could play those 2 together, although they're both about 6'1", so you're really undersized there. But now you got 2 in both units, no matter who starts or who's playing with whom. This is terrific. And the Clippers couldn't deal with it. And we've seen other teams, they're not used to this level of skill and penetration ability. And I said it in the Heat game, and I'll say it again. It reminds me of the Warriors. Attacking from angles. The defense isn't prepared for it, particularly. And this is an advantage that the Hornets actually have over the Warriors, particularly because so many of the big men for the Hornets can shoot outside jump shots. I mean, Al Jefferson isn't really a perimeter shooter, but Marvin Williams is, who's a starting power forward. Spencer Hawes is. Frank Kaminsky is. And Cody Zeller is becoming that. All of a sudden, Cody Zeller can hit 3-pointers because he hit one tonight, and it looked pretty darn good coming out of his hand. So we've talked before about this. This is the transformation of the Charlotte Hornets roster from Al Jefferson centered and Kemba Walker as the second option to now becoming kind of a pace and space, push the tempo, space out the floor, have a whole bunch of skilled players on the court at one time, guys who can shoot and pass and make plays, get to the rim. And now it's just bang, 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 bang. The Clippers the Clippers were missing a couple guys tonight. They were missing Chris Paul, that's a significant loss on defense and offense, particularly on defense. We're talking here about the Hornets offense, and this is preseason. But Doc Rivers, I'm not going to say that he wanted to win the game, but he wasn't really thrilled about losing the game. So this wasn't just like, okay, whatever, no big deal, it's preseason. The Hornets have something here. And again, they're going to need to, Brian Roberts has to be able to do something like this in the regular season. Can he do that? I don't know. But still, you're not getting much from Frank Kaminsky yet. Marvin Williams is still kind of feeling it out a little bit. They definitely have something here. They definitely have something here. And it's so funny because last year it was a defense-heavy team, weak on offense, and now it looks like you're heading towards offense-heavy team that might be a little bit soft on defense, particularly with the absence of Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I don't even know where to start. Charlotte scored 37 points in the first quarter of this game. Okay, they looked terrific. Again, they were down early. I don't remember. J.J. Redick essentially couldn't miss anything. He had 16 points in like 8 minutes or something like that. Nobody could guard him. Not Jeremy Lamb, not Jeremy Lin, pretty much nobody. And he just wasn't missing anything. But then the Hornets went with the bench, and they just started getting out, running, hitting shots, penetrating, and just wreaking havoc all over the Clippers defense. And it really never stopped happening. The Clippers, they shot okay. They shot 44%. They shot better from three-point range than the Hornets did, 33%. They did not get to the line as much as the Hornets did, and that's because they weren't penetrating as much. They actually had more assists than the Hornets did, although it didn't seem like that when you were watching the game. And I think the difference when viewing it was because the Hornets kept getting into the paint. They just kept driving and kept getting easy looks that even if they were not assisted plays, they were like wide open guys taking somebody off the dribble, and it was like wide open little floaters or runners. And so that was happening a lot in this game. The Hornets did do a good job of rebounding. They did out-rebound the Hornets by 8. Each team had 14 turnovers apiece. Yeah, Charlotte had double the number of points in the paint, and that wasn't big men making shots. That was guards getting into the lane, or maybe guards getting past their man and then feeding into like wide open big men for dunks and layups. And this is something to see. I thought Charlotte could be good this year. And again, this is just preseason. I've said before, I thought Charlotte could make a run at the playoffs. I did like their depth. I did like their skill. But I got to say, it looks even better so far than what I thought it was going to be so quickly. I didn't think it would show up this fast. We have to see, though, losing Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is going to be a blow, particularly on defense when you must get stops. But as we have mentioned in the other videos, losing him means you do get to load up on offense. And that is what the Hornets are doing, and they are doing it with success. And the team, I'm sure, you don't want to say anything. It's preseason and all, but they got to be feeling pretty good about the way things are looking right now. Pretty good. The Clippers, on the other hand, they're going to want to come back 3 days from now and get a little payback here. Although, again, I mean, main thing in preseason, you don't want to get hurt. Both Chris Paul and Austin Rivers were out for this game with injuries. Chris Paul broke an index finger in a practice session in China, and Austin Rivers apparently was elbowed in the face and knocked out 5 of his teeth, and they had to be surgically repaired. And we certainly wish speedy recoveries for each of those players. So again, the Clippers are not at full strength, but they still have a tremendous amount of talent, and they are thought to be considerably better than what the Hornets are thought to be. So it's a very encouraging outing for the Charlotte Hornets, and it was very enjoyable to watch. This was up and down, back and forth, run and gun type of a style, and that definitely fits Jeremy Lin's game. And there were moments during this game where it was a Linsanity roll. In the second quarter, Jeremy's two best quarters of the game were the second and third quarters. In the second quarter, he got on a roll and hit like 3 shots in a row. And I can't remember, it might have been the third quarter. I don't remember when it was. But he started to take the game over with his passing, where he was kind of making some spectacular moves and the crowd's like oohing and awing. And then it's like the rest of the team fed off of that. And all of a sudden the ball's whipping and zipping all over the place on passes, and guys are getting wide open layups and dunks right underneath the rim or in transition. So Jeremy is, and I'm not just saying this, if you're new to these videos and you think, oh, this is a Jeremy Lin guy saying this, Jeremy has the ability to elevate an entire team with his passing, with his playmaking. He just puts so much pressure on a defense because of his speed and his ability to make passes and see passes. And there was definitely moments of that tonight. He can do it with his scoring, but he can the ultimate version of Linsanity, the true version of Linsanity, is both passing and scoring. And it becomes a thing where you can't stop both things. And it basically, he's got you on your heels, because if you try to stop one, he's going to do the other. You lay off of him because you're afraid of him passing, he's going to score. He's going to score, he's going to score, he's going to score. You try to slow down his shooting, his scoring, you double team him, see he's going to pass somebody else wide open for shots. And in the New York days, it's Steve Novak, Landry Fields, guys are hitting threes, getting alley-oops at the rim, dunk city. And it just builds upon itself. And there were definitely moments of that tonight. And remember, he just got on the team. The team doesn't really know him yet. When they start to know him more and he knows them more, and he's given kind of the free rein, you're going to see some things. I think we've finally put to bed the last 3 years of difficulty for Jeremy Lin. This looks like the situation for him. I know I don't want to jinx it. I know some people are still a little wary of this on Twitter. Like, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I think right situation, right system, right coach, right teammates. And look, there are times, if you're a Jeremy Lin fan, there are times during this game where players are looking off Jeremy. They're not passing to him. He's open. Some of that's just going to happen. And some of it, you also have to understand, it's a preseason. So guys like Brian Roberts, they have to secure their spot on the team. So in other words, you might see guys be a little bit more selfish now than they will be in the regular season once the roster's set and everything's kind of worked out. So you have to allow for a little bit of that as well. Look, Nick Batum was extremely aggressive early in this game. Very aggressive on offense. He looked good. Kemba, whatever lingering effects are going on with his knee, those seem to be dissipating. His quickness looked excellent. He was getting where he wanted to get to. His shots looked solid. It was 5 of 8 shooting. Jeremy Lamb hit some nice three-pointers, had some good plays in this game. Jeremy Lamb has length. That's the reason why they're experimenting with starting him. He's taller and longer than Jeremy Lin is. Steve Clifford, in my understanding, likes length. He likes teams that are bigger and have more reach. Jeremy Lamb fits that profile better than Jeremy Lin does. But it's almost like I said, it doesn't even matter. I mean, Jeremy Lin played more minutes than Jeremy Lamb did in this game. I'm almost sure of that. I don't have the minutes in front of me right now, but for the Hornets to be successful this year, they need Jeremy Lamb to play well. And the best thing that Jeremy Lamb can do is rebound the ball. Is shoot the ball. But he's also a good rebounder. And he had 4 assists in this game. 4 assists and no turnovers. If he can play like that and Brian Roberts plays like this team really can do some things. Cody Zeller, what I like about Cody is I haven't heard any complaining from him. He was a starter last year, and now it's like, well, they want to kind of spread the floor a little bit more, so they're going with Marvin Williams. But Cody Zeller comes in, 16 points, 10 rebounds, and he's hitting three-pointers, as I said earlier. He's working to expand his game, and that's what he needs to do. If you're going to be a big man, particularly a power forward in this league, you need to hit three-pointers if you're going to get time on the floor. And so he's working on it, and he did it last game, and he did it again today. Spencer Hawes, 10 points, 13 rebounds. Spencer, just like Jeremy Lamb, just like Jeremy Lin, this could be the situation for him. I don't want to say finally, because Spencer was solid when he played in Cleveland and Philly. He fell out of the rotation and just kind of out of favor with the Clippers last year, but you're seeing his skills now. And Spencer obviously he can hit the jump shot from deep. But he can also do a little bit, get to the rim, run a little bit of pick and roll. He looks solid tonight. Frank Kaminsky, it's clear to me that he's not going to get a lot of run early in this season because I think Clifford's a little hesitant with rookies or guys that he doesn't think are quite ready for the league, and Clifford wants to win games. So it's probably gonna take some time before Frank gets fully dialed in, and that's fine. Fortunately for the Hornets, they're deep at the power forward and center spot. They don't have to have Frank come in and light it up immediately, which is a luxury for them and for Frank. They can kind of get his feet under him a little bit. Brian Roberts, what can we say? This is the second terrific game for Brian Roberts in a row. He's playing carefree. He's playing like he's got something on the line, and it's working very, very well. Jeremy Lin, let's come back to him. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 6 of 12 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point land, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 steal, no block shots, 1 turnover, 3 personal fouls. Jeremy's plus-minus was where do I have it here? I think it's a plus 23. Yeah, plus 23, which was the best on the team. 28 minutes played, that was the most on the team. Jeremy looks great. He looks under control. He looks decisive. He's playing. I think Jeremy now, he's really improved his game. He used to be able to really, in my opinion, only play at one speed, which was 100 miles an hour. Now he's starting to get better playing at a slower pace. Somebody mentioned this on Twitter, and I can't remember who, and I'm sorry. They mentioned this, and they're absolutely right. Because Jeremy's skills are rounding out now. He can dribble with his left hand. He can shoot better. He's calmer. He's found his groove better as a player. Look, Jeremy played well in Los Angeles last year, despite what anybody says. And the announcers mentioned it tonight, and I'm glad that they mentioned it. The announcers who called the game tonight, Chris Carino and Tom Capshaw, I think it was. I think they're like the Brooklyn Nets announcers, maybe. These guys knew Jeremy Lin, and they knew his game well. And they really did a good job calling the game tonight. But Jeremy, he's improved and improved and improved, and he's still improving at the age of 27. He just turned 27. He's still getting better. I've said it before, and I'll say it again right now. I think Jeremy Lin is 2 to 3 years away from being the best version of himself. He's going to become a better shooter. He's going to become even more solid in his decision-making and just his all-around feel for the game. He's going to develop things like better floaters around the rim. He's still improving. This is the best version of him that we've seen. And now he's finding a system where he can show it. Look, Jeremy had good games last year. He had one game against, I want to say it was against the Minnesota Timberwolves last year. He had like 20 points, 7 assists. And then after the game, Byron Scott and Kobe were calling him boneheaded. It's like, really? I thought he played pretty well. So, and again, I'm not trying to bring up old issues here, but it's like, I think now he can be on a team with the coach, with teammates, where he's not thinking about every single thing. He can just play. And this is the kind of results that we're going to see. I do like him looking for his shot more. He is clearly looking for his jump shot more. He's not forcing things. The turnover that he had, honestly, was a good look. I think he was passing it to, I want to say it was Spencer Hawes, and it's a communication thing. 2 months from now, it won't be a turnover. They're just not. Spencer Hawes wasn't looking for the pass, basically, and it went off his hand and went out of bounds. I'm pumped up. I didn't expect things to be this good this quickly. I don't know. It's just extremely encouraging, and everything I've heard about this team from the team itself, and I'm talking about from the players, tight-knit, good guys. I know Al Jefferson just had a players-only dinner in China. Al Jefferson himself has said that this is the best team I've been on in terms of how the guys are, the camaraderie, and how they just, the character of the individuals. We've mentioned it in videos before. High character team, smart team, unselfish team, and guys with something to prove. Guys that are motivated to do well, like Jeremy Lamb, like Spencer Hawes, like Cody Zeller, who's been demoted, like Jeremy Lin. I just love it. I love what I'm seeing so far. There's going to be down times. There's going to be times where this team is outgunned. Maybe you're going against high-powered teams like the Warriors, or maybe like the Rockets, or something like this, high-scoring teams where they're going to have to play more defense. But right now it looks good, particularly in the East, where the talent has improved, but it's still not at the level of the West. Charlotte can do some things. Hopefully they can continue to stay healthy, besides the injury to Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. And it looks really, really good right now. And that's kind of my overall take on this game and on Jeremy. And I'll just quickly look through my notes and see if there's anything in particular from the quarter by quarter I want to say here. Okay. Yeah, the rotation. So the rotation worked like this for the Hornets tonight. First man off the bench was Cody Zeller, and Cody Zeller came in for Marvin Williams. So Cody Zeller came in to sub for Marvin Williams, and Cody went and played power forward. The second substitution that Steve Clifford was using was Jeremy Lin in for Jeremy Lamb. I believe that was the rotation. I know Jeremy was the second man off the bench. After that, number 3 and 4 off the bench were Brian Roberts for Kemba and Spencer Hawes for Al Jefferson. That was the pattern in the first quarter, in the first half, and I believe it was used in the second half as well. Jeremy was, looking at some of these, because the makes that he had in the second quarter, he had at least 3 makes, and all of them were off the dribble. One of them, he's starting to slow down in his game. He's starting to develop better moves when he's one-on-one. Like when he has a mismatch, that's when he is not being guarded by a point guard defender. Maybe he's being guarded by a larger player who isn't as quick. That happened with Jeremy against Paul Pierce. It happened with him against Cole Aldridge, who's a reserve center for the Clippers. Jeremy, he was on the left baseline, maybe 10 feet away from the basket, and Cole Aldridge was guarding him. He basically faked like he wasn't going to do anything. He was going to pass the ball. Cole Aldrich relaxed, and Jeremy just shot up and over the top of him. So what I see from Jeremy now is he's just developing more savvy. He's developing more little fakes, more little one-on-one moves, more. He's just slowing down and playing relaxed rather than trying to make everything so quick. And it's absolutely helping his game. It's helping his game, and it will build upon itself. As I said, the skill level is improving, and that makes you more relaxed. You know you can do more things. You get more relaxed. That lets you do better, so on and so forth. Just looking through my notes again here quick. Yeah, it just, late in the third quarter, Jeremy just zoomed down the court, just rolled down the court, and he had a nice little pass to Cody Zeller for a reverse layup. And it just is one of these plays where he just, it's like I said, it's almost like he's out there playing by himself. The quickness and the speed is just so much that it's hard for a defender to deal with that. Just deal with it because it's overwhelming. And I think that's, I don't know, I have to check my notes right now. I think that's when kind of Jeremy was kind of getting in that groove where people were just feeding off of him. And yeah, late in the third and early in the fourth, that's when I think Charlotte went to this kind of super passing, and this was definitely stimulated by Jeremy Lin. It was originated from him, and then it just spreads to the rest of the team. And then with the score 87-77, Doc Rivers had to take a timeout with 10 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter early because this is the Linsanity effect. Your team feels great, and it's kind of giddy, and it's almost like the Globetrotters, which it just kind of showing and fun and gun, and it's like the other team, it doesn't even exist, or they're just there for like laughter or something. And I think Doc sensed that, and that's why he took the timeout, and he kind of lit into the Clippers, but it didn't have any. It didn't matter. It was already kind of too late, and Charlotte was off to the races. So, yeah, that's about it. Look, I'll just keep it simple. I mean, it was just a great game. It was enjoyable to watch. Jeremy looks good. Even the most skeptical Jeremy Lin fan has to be encouraged by what they've seen in these three games. This is fantastic. And you really get the sense that Jeremy's he's just free of the constraints that he's had in the last two teams that he's played for. Whatever you think about those situations, whether you think it's fair or unfair, it doesn't seem to be the case here. Look, Houston, Jeremy has said it himself. Houston was a system that he liked, but he wasn't the trigger man. He wasn't the guy with the ball in his hand. But the difference between now and in Houston is that now Jeremy has more skills to be able to play without the ball than he had in Houston. He's a better shooter. He's a better dribbler with his left hand. He's better catch and shoot. So he wasn't prepared in Houston, in my opinion. He was not prepared to play without the ball in Houston. Now he's more prepared to play without the ball. So he can play with the ball or without the ball. And as his shooting gets even better and better, and as I said, as he gets more like a Redick or something with a catch and shoots, he'll be even better. We've talked about before in the past that our goal for Jeremy Lin and the goal for him, and he said this himself this last summer, the goal is to be able to play well in any system. So you have to have the variety of skills to be able to do that. Now he's getting closer to that. And he's in a system that's good for him. So, system is a match, but even when he has to play shooting guard in the system rather than point guard and ball in his hands, Brian Roberts has the ball or Kemba has the ball and Jeremy does, he still can do well in it. And as his abilities improve, he's going to be able to do even better in that. So I love it. I am very happy. I couldn't be happier. This was just, I honestly, I thought the Clippers might beat them down, but that definitely didn't happen. So we will see then what happens 3 days from now, because these two teams will meet again in Shanghai, China, at the Mercedes-Benz Arena at 8 p.m. local time on Wednesday, October 14th. And that means here in the East Coast of the United States, that will take place at 8 a.m. early on Wednesday, October 14th, 5 a.m. Pacific. That should be a lot of fun. Kind of a different time than when they play today, 7 hours off, but that's kind of basically an evening game when the NBA would usually play a game here in the United States. Okay, excuse me, the hiccups. That is it for now. Thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. We will work to put information for highlights in the video description below the video player. Great to see Michael Jordan there courtside. He was there at the game. Of course, he's the chairman/owner or primary owner, whatever, of the Charlotte Hornets. Nice that he could be there with the team and for the NBA. There was a press conference held before the game by Commissioner Adam Silver, which both Michael Jordan and Clippers owner Steve Ballmer attended, so that was nice. Once again, I am PFE Paula for the Real. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Terrific outing. The team's not perfect. There's still going to be some tough times. They need to work on their defense a little bit more, need to kind of sharpen up the turnovers a little bit. But the depth and skill of this team is considerable. And it's going to allow them to compete with most teams on most nights, provided that they're healthy. And it is just, it's great to see. It's great for the team, great for the city, and the situation looks extremely good for Jeremy Lin. Look, we don't know who's going to end up starting. Jeremy Lin could very well end up being the starting shooting guard. Or maybe he's not, because Coach Clifford wants him to help the second unit. The strength of this team, one of the clear strengths of this team, is the depth. There's almost no letdown between the first and second unit. So you want that second unit to be strong, because then you can just roll over weaker second units in the team. So it is possible that Steve Clifford will decide, we're going to keep Jeremy Lin on the second unit because we want him to just help bulldozer over other teams' second units. So I would not be disappointed with that. Jeremy's getting his minutes. He's clearly having an effect on the game and running the show. So I'm totally content and zen-like at the moment. So that is it for now. Looking forward to hear what you guys have to say. We'll check you out on Twitter and in the comments below. 3 more days till the next game, and hopefully the Charlotte Hornets freight train just keep rolling along as it is right now. Take care. Have a great night, a great day, wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. We'll talk to you again soon.